Nice.
All right.
All right. Hey, listen. Are we on?
Yes, we are. Yeah. Can you hear me okay?
Okay. Just so that everybody knows why we're late. Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody, we're late because Jeff made me go through a big wardrobe change.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I was like, okay,
So,
Mark, you got to change shirt.
Jesus.
You got.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. So we are live, and I'm going to just make sure. So Cha Cha is watching. Hey, Cha Cha.
Hey, Cha Cha. Cha Cha.
So Marc VW, but I was trying to do Mark. I can't do it right, but I'm going to do the best I can. Marc Wageningen.
Oh, that's pretty good. That's good.
It's getting closer. It's getting closer.
Just so that everybody knows, it's actually the name of a city in Holland. And van just means from. So, sometime a long time ago, somebody was from that city. And that's the deal.
Oh, yeah. Is it what is the city still there? I mean, where's it from?
Oh, yeah. It's still there. Actually, not long ago, maybe 2 or 3 years ago, my son and I went there. We took the train from Amsterdam and went to that city. It's actually a very nice city. It's a kind of an agricultural center that has a big university, agricultural university. And so it's nice.
Mark, you're gonna hate me for this.
Oh, now what? Oh my God, man. Okay, go ahead.
All right.
Sit still. Is that what you're gonna say?
Do what?
No, go ahead. Say it.
No, so for the light for somehow is making we're getting that fuzzy thing look on your face again from the TV standpoint, because you've done TV shows. Yes. It's just getting blurry. I wonder, do you have a shade open to your left or something? I mean, to your right?
Yeah, there's a shade open. Yeah.
What, do you mind closing?
Well, it's a little difficult because I don't have a curtain for it.
Oh.
But let me try something. Okay. Hang on. Jesus. Jeff, you're really something. You know that, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Hang on.
Oh man, I'm so sorry. Oh, I'm making Mark jump through all these hoops, and I made him get headphones. I made him change his shirt. I'm making him put a curtain up, and I'm making him do all this stuff.
How about that?
Oh, well, so far that's better. Now we're talking.
Okay. Do you need me to get an interior designer in here too to
what?
Build a set or what?
It's okay. We're good now. I explained to everybody. I explained to the people watching that I asked you to put headphones on, change shirts, put a curtain up. I'm surprised.
It's just unbelievable.
I'm surprised you just didn't say I'm out of here.
I know, right? I'm just such a nice person.
You are.
It's all fake, man.
I have had people. Fred Ross.
I do, yes.
Okay, so what I did to him when he was on, I said, "Oh, I'm going to play some of your favorite music," and I played a ding 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 ding. I played this country fiddle music, and he goes, nice. "You do that one more time, I'm out."
Yeah, that's great. Fred Ross and I played. Well, he did it a lot, but I played a couple tours with him and Pee Wee Alice.
Oh yeah.
Which was
He's that band was great.
Yeah, that was a real lesson in funk history.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, so you grew up in Holland, or and
Amsterdam, Holland. Yeah.
Yeah. And what was the music that you were listening to there?
Well, a real big variety of music, really. my father listened to a lot of jazz and blues. And then, as you know, my brother was a great drummer.
Right.
And, he listened to, just about everything, really, you know. So, yeah, a wide variety of different styles of music we grew up listening to.
Did you listen before you moved away from there? Did you come directly to California to the
Yeah,
area?
I did.
And,
My brother lived here already.
okay.
And that's the reason why I came here. Originally, he lived in New York because we both went there together.
Mhm.
And had he still been there, I would have gone there.
Mm.
But he was here, and so I came over here.
Before you came to California, were you listening to all of the Bay Area kind of music? Were you fans of all that kind of stuff at all?
Well, it's actually interesting later on, I realized that we both liked a lot of bands from the Bay Area. I
Yeah.
mean, I listened to Santana, I listened to Azteca, way before I knew Pete. Uh, I listened to Tower, or, both of us did.
Mm.
Uh, I wasn't that familiar with, well, Sly and the Family Stone, we listened to a lot. We had all those records.
Mhm.
So, yeah, not so much the rock, San Francisco rock scene, but a lot of the R&B like bands.
Yeah. You know,
Yeah,
I feel a little like I don't know a lot of Bay Area history because I never myself really knew much of the rock side, even though there was a big
yeah,
rock side uh,
right.
with
Yeah,
Jefferson Airplane and some of that.
exactly. Yeah.
But I like you grew up listening to. As a matter of fact, I just pulled out Azteca last night and was listening to it, and that in the early '70s, Azteca and was Malo around then, and
I think so. Yeah.
Sons of Champlin, Cold Blood,
Yeah.
Tower of
Yeah.
Power, all those horn bands. That's
Right.
sort of where I gravitated to. So
Yeah.
when you came here, then moved there, you were aware of that whole music scene.
Yeah. I mean, pretty quickly, because, my brother was already playing with a great Bay Area guitar player named Ray Oviedo,
Mm,
who had played with Herbie Hancock and all those kind of people, Harvey Mason. And so I started playing with Ray pretty early on after I came here. And then through Ray, of course, we met the whole Escovedo family, and then we learned about all the Bay Area music scene. Yeah.
when you came in 1980,
Yeah.
is what it was. That's
Yeah.
and when I'm looking at the thing, some information about you, your first gig, you went on a tour not too long after that, right? With Ray. Did you go Ray Oviedo? What was the
Yeah.
first tour you did?
Well, with Ray, we did a lot of, we never went on a long, the only real tour we did was one time with, what was that record label? Wyndham Hill.
Oh yeah,
But not Wyndham Hill. Andy Narell, the steel drummer. He had
right,
uh, what do you call it, label that was part of Wyndham Hill.
right,
And
right.
so we went with Andy's band, Ray's band, and um, what's the guy, Billy Childs,
Oh yeah.
and some of his ex. Oh, I
Hmm.
think maybe Steve Urbiaga too. Not sure. But anyway, we did an actual tour, with a bunch of dates. But with Ray, most of the time we did like a few dates here and there, and
Hmm.
spot dates everywhere. Yeah.
And so when you got here to the Bay Area, then you did mostly were you doing mostly jazz, or when did
In
you?
the beginning, yeah, it's strange, like, well, in the early '80s, bass guitar was still cool amongst the jazz guys. Uh, and then later on, that changed. Actually, really, the whole thing went back to upright bass. Jazz was not cool anymore if you played bass guitar.
Hmm,
And so in the beginning, I did do a lot of, actually mostly jazz gigs. Yeah, played a lot with Mel Martin. He had a band called Bebop and Beyond.
right.
Larry Schneider, a great saxophone player. We did trio gigs, and Eddie Marshall. And um, So yeah, for some reason I did a lot more gigs that in that vein. But then pretty soon thereafter, I had met a guy named Ron Stallings, saxophone player,
Yeah.
great saxophone. He played with Huey Lewis for many years, and you know, uh, he recommended me for the Rathskeller band, which was like a blues R&B band that played every Thursday at Larry Blake's. And through that whole scene, I kind of started meeting more R&B guys, you know. So slowly but surely, kind of switched a little bit. And then, you know, once bass guitar wasn't cool anymore, then, you know, the jazz thing kind of went out the window, you know.
So you
Yeah.
play upright too?
Huh?
You play
No,
up?
no, I didn't. Well, I, I have one, but that's about the extent of it. Yeah. Actually, one time we did a show, a TV show called But Can They Dance? And we all of a sudden, it was like a bunch of actors that sang, you know, like a competition.
Right.
And one guy was singing Frank Sinatra and some other stuff. And so the musical director said, Mark, play upright on that tomorrow, you know? Yeah. And I didn't even have an upright, you know? So I rented an upright, and then I got the colored, little colored dots, and I
Yeah.
stuck them on where the notes, like where I knew, you know, kind
Yeah.
of the neighborhood. And so I did a whole TV show playing upright. I had gotten like an electric Yamaha upright bass,
Uh-huh.
and it was perfect because it was just like, you know, the songs are maybe like a minute and a half long, just long enough so I didn't completely collapse, you know. Yeah. So that's the only time. Yeah.
You made it through the gig.
I made it to the gig. It's actually kind of fun because it was such a challenge, you know. Yeah.
Uh,
So,
and so you also started playing with Pete Escovedo
yeah.
and that the whole Latin circuit. There's a
Right.
lot of Latin stuff in the Bay Area.
Yeah. That's, you know, the Bay Area it's cool because, you know, like Santana and Azteca and all that, it is Latin music, Latin jazz, but combined with a lot of other styles, you know. I mean, you know, with Pete Escovedo, we could be playing a samba, we could play a funk, you know, we could play, it could go anywhere, you know, really. And I think that's really kind of the nice thing about the Bay Area. There's a lot of, you know, same with Azteca or even early Santana, you know, where there was a lot of rock and salsa and funk, you know, kind of mixed together, you know.
Yeah, the Bay Area for some reason, especially in the 70s, 80s, there was so much going on and so many different styles.
Yeah,
And it was really unique and different compared to Los Angeles and New York, I think.
I think so too. I do.
And I think the whole groove and feel. What did you notice about how it felt playing with people in the Bay Area? Did you notice there was a different feel in how they played?
Yeah, I think so pretty quickly, you know. Well, you know, you know, S Tower is so well known for its, you know, for its feel, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I think that kind of it's part of the Bay Area thing in a way, you know, where there's people that have different interests in music and combine it, you know, and put it into one thing. And you know, when the gigs we did with Ray Obiedo, for example, is a good example of that because you know we would play funk, but then it would just in the middle of a song it could go into a Caribbean thing or it could go into salsa or could, you know, it's like it could go anywhere, you know. And I think that whole idea of different feels put together, and you know, I think that's kind of part of the Bay Area sound, really, you know.
It's really different and unique. I
I
think.
think so. I do.
Like Los Angeles, I got to say, since I've been here, I don't know if there's a real sound in Los Angeles. There's just lots of different guys that can play a certain way.
Yeah, I have to agree. I mean, I lived in Los Angeles twice, you know, once in the 80s and then for the TV show early 2000s. But, you know, as many great musicians as there are in LA, and you know, we all know there's some incredible musicians there. But if you had to say what's the LA sound, well, you could maybe say it's kind of the smooth jazz sound or something, you know, I don't know. But it's hard to kind of really specify what it is, you know, to me,
Yeah.
you know.
Hey, well,
Yeah.
when you came here the first time, or when did you do the Wayne Brady show? And what was the
Yeah.
Wayne Brady show like? And how?
Yeah, that was 2002
Yeah.
and 2003. And I thought it was great, actually, you know, really, because first of all, it was a great band. You know, we had Will Kennedy on drums.
Mm,
We had two keyboard players. One was Wayne Lindsay and one was Jeff Babco,
yeah.
who since, you know, and Toshi Yanagi on guitar. And both of those guys have been with Jimmy Kimmel the whole time.
Right.
And then, you know, Peter Michael Escovedo was the musical director. And then the second year we had Paul Pesco on guitar and I forget the lady's name now, but a different keyboard player. But the real cool thing was that, you know, we, first of all, it was a great band, but also we just got to back up so many different acts, you know, it was unbelievable, really. You know, anywhere from, you know, Wayne Newton to Take Six and everything in between, you know.
Well, I'm not that familiar. I know Wayne can sing, and
Yeah, he's a good singer, yeah.
but
Yeah.
I wasn't familiar with the show. I did.
Yeah.
Was there a lot of musical guests?
Yes, it was a lot. Well, Wayne loved music, so first of all, he would sing a lot, and then there was a lot of musical guests too. Yeah, yeah.
Man.
You know, it was like a daily talk show, so
Mhm.
yeah, there was a lot of music on the show. But a lot of times they couldn't bring their own bands, so we would actually, you know, play with a lot of, you know, musical guests,
Did
and
you?
that was cool.
Yeah. Did they bring charts? Did you have to do rehearsal with them? Do
A
all?
lot of times they would have, yeah, we always had a little short rehearsal. A lot of times they would have the whatever the act was, they would have their own musical director or something. And then sometimes we would get a CD beforehand, and then we had a guy whose job it was to write out charts, which was really cool. He was right behind the stage. It would print out charts as we went, you know. Yeah, it was really cool. Milton was his name, and so yeah, we would usually would have charts. Yeah, yeah,
Man, it sounds like a fun show. So,
it's great. Yeah,
so you're used to when you get there, wear the right shirt, put on the headphones just right,
yeah.
you know, comb your hair. You're used to that. So I put you. I just it was natural for you to take all that direction from me.
That's right. That's right. Well, you know, I'm pretty easy going with that stuff. You know,
Yeah.
when it comes to the sound thing, you know, it's just with me, it's like I can, you know, it can be bad until it goes beyond the limit, you know, and then it's impossible, you know.
Well, you are pretty easygoing, and my experience with you on that short bit I did with the road.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah, I can hear it. Yeah, no, it's fine.
Yeah,
And you were just real easygoing about it, and
yeah.
you know, and for all I know, it could have been sucking, you know, and
No, as
you
long
were,
as you know, there's like I said, you know, I can go a long ways before it really becomes hard to play, you know.
yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, there's a couple of rooms that we've played where I know it's like, oh boy, you know, this is gonna be rough.
Mm,
But you know, because I've, you know, like so many of us, you know, we've done it for so long, you know, you kind of, you know, we don't go completely crazy about that stuff, you know. But
yeah,
actually, I did get some new in-ears though, but I haven't used them yet. But I'm curious to see if it's really good.
yeah.
Yeah.
You were having some issues with your older ones. They were
Yeah, that you know how it's supposed to do the vacuum thing, you know.
right.
They would, if I moved my mouth or something, they would, you know, I'd lose the vacuum and then the whole sound changes, you know.
It does, and you
Yeah,
know, the cavity of your ear is really what you need to get the bass sound.
right,
You know, you
right,
need to get that sort of like completely uh, closed in and to get the suction thing. So it just
right.
kind of otherwise that you lose the low end.
Exactly. Yeah. So that would happen all the time. That's why I got some new in-ears, but actually haven't tried them yet. You know, it's hard because as you know, half the band doesn't use them. And so I still have to have an amp on stage, you know,
Right.
because, you know, that's part of it. So sometimes I'm going, I just want to hear what the amp sounds like, so I know what everybody's hearing, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
There are a lot of people watching, and I'm kind of looking down once in a while
Cool. Hello, everybody.
in case they have questions.
Yes.
You know, because Tower of Power has a lot of fans, and I'm
It's
just trying to
amazing. Yeah.
catch everybody up to how before you got to Tower of Power. In case the
Yeah.
Tower of Power people don't know a lot about your history, I want to make sure. What was it like working with Cornelius Bumpus?
Oh, man. I honestly, I have to say he's my favorite person I've ever met.
Really?
Yeah. He was so unbelievably nice and cool, you know? Yeah. I miss him. I miss him a lot. Yeah. Fantastic.
And you also did a bunch of recording with Stevie Winwood.
Well, not a bunch, but
No.
I recorded. Yeah, no. We it was funny actually. We did one song with him, and it was a Latin jazz song, and there was a lot of good players. Rebecca Molleon, if you're familiar with her. What's the drummer who plays with Chicago now?
The new guy?
Know?
Not Tristan Bowden.
No.
It's a new guy.
Yeah, it's
I don't.
His father has the same name, and he's a percussionist.
Oh,
shoot.
Yeah, we'll
you know it. Somebody out there must know it.
Somebody must know.
Everybody who's playing with Chicago right now.
Chicago.
Anyway, he was playing drums, and so we did it. We recorded it, and it was good. I thought it was really good. You know, like a Latin jazz thing.
Mm-hmm.
But then they said, "Oh well, it's a little bit too. We need to make it more pop." So we had to re-record it and make kind of a tame version. And well, to me it was whatever, you know, at that point.
Yeah.
But he's a very nice guy, and I'm a fan of his, for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
And, you also did some recording and touring with Sheila E.
Yeah, a lot. Yeah.
And what I can't imagine what that would have been like, because I've
yeah.
What?
Well, I did a few tours in the 90s with her, and the band was it was a different kind of band. Back then it was her brother was playing drums, Peter Michael. We had Eric Leeds from the Prince band, and we had we had two great trumpet players, and I forget both of their names now. Shoot. Well, I'll think of it later. And then we had Renato Neto, who also played with Prince for many years. And back then it was more like, you know, we played heavy duty Latin jazz, and then we played some funk and some Brazilian stuff. It was a combination of a lot of, you know, it was a great band, I thought. And then later on I played with her when it was a little bit more pop oriented, you know. So
yeah. Cha-Cha says Wally.
Yes, that's it.
What's his last name?
Wilfredo Reyes.
Oh, yes.
Thank you, Cha-Cha.
Wilfredo. Yeah.
Wilfredo Reyes, yes.
Yeah. No, that guy's
he was playing drums. That's right. Thank you. Yes.
I don't know a lot. You know, I just kind of wing it a whole bunch of times. So it's
wait a minute, Jeff. Let me ask you.
Yeah.
Where because you lived in the Bay Area, right?
Yeah.
So are you from the Bay Area, or where did you come from?
No, I grew up in Nebraska.
Oh, wow.
And I left when I was 15 and went out on the road with a band. I quit high school.
Wow.
And then one thing led to another. I was back home for a while, and this is how I met Tom. Just out of the blue, I got a call to join a circus.
Oh, wow.
And I said yes, and that's when I met Tom in 1980. And then I moved to the Bay Area in 1980, the same time as you.
Wow. Wow.
So, you know, I was in all the different circles than what you were doing. I was doing all the casuals up there, you know, the weddings and, you know, those sort of things, because I was trying to make money.
Well, you guys made more money than I did, I'm sure.
Well, you pretty much stuck in the original music jazz scene, and you stayed really pretty active in that whole scene, though, which is a whole different circle of guys.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. Yeah. I never really got involved with the wedding thing, you know. I mean, I did a few here and there, you know. Actually, talk about Ray Oviedo. We
Yeah,
did a couple. Sometimes people would hire the whole band because they liked it, you know.
right.
And we considered ourselves definitely the worst wedding band in the world because we didn't know any of the, you know, the standard wedding songs or whatever you're supposed to do, you know.
Right.
And it was just, oh man, just the worst. But you know,
Well, doing a wedding is so completely different.
yeah, that's a whole
Even
different skill.
the vocabulary you need to do a wedding is completely different than what you need to
Yeah,
do Ray Oviedo. And
exactly.
you know a guy that would show up on gigs a lot that I know you know is Peter Horvath.
Yes, we still good friends and
Yeah.
we still play together a little bit.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
When
yeah.
you're not doing Tower in the recent years, um, was what do you do and where do you play around? I mean, there isn't that many clubs up there anymore. Uh,
Yeah, well, yeah, I know. It's somehow, you know, I managed to do it, but well, in the beginning, you know, there was a band I used to play with a lot. It was a guy named Freddie Clark,
hmm,
and he had an interesting band because it was all world music, you know.
mhm.
We had a conga player from Cuba, we had a violinist from Lebanon, we had a singer from Morocco, and sometimes we would have some African singers, sometimes we would have Vietnamese dambao players or whatever. I mean, just a whole different world, you know, collection of musicians, you know.
Yeah.
So I used to play a lot with those guys. And when I first joined Tower, I still did that for a little while when I could. But then, you know, it just became a little too much, you know, to do that when I was home, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Well,
So
uh, I'm kind of I looked and I got a question, but
yeah.
my you know my circle of people was completely different than yours, but your name came up a lot of times. Everybody's like,
Oh,
oh, you know, talk, you know, get Mark, call Mark.
wow.
And so
Uh,
I knew about you, but we were just always in different circles. And
yeah. Yeah.
you know, all of the different music that you were in was sort of to me, I would say, is more of that world kind of
Yeah. A little bit. Yeah. Yeah.
jazz and maybe a little pop, and then you know the Latin thing.
Yeah.
Uh, that,
Yeah.
that in you know, not everybody. I mean, that's a real different kind of feel
Totally. Yeah.
to
No,
do those
that's,
things.
well, you know, and I had to just learn as I went, you know. As one of the first gigs I did with Pete Escovedo was at the old, uh, what is it called? Oh, man, my brain.
Was it Pete's Club?
No, it was, you know, the jazz club in San Francisco,
Oh,
famous Keystone
Keystone.
Corner,
Yeah,
Keystone.
yeah.
And that's the first gig I did, I think, with Pete. We didn't have a drummer then yet, so it was just Sheila was playing congas and or maybe timbales.
Mhm.
Pete timbal. No, she was playing congas probably. But anyway, after the gig, Sheila came up to me and said, "You know, Mark, salsa is not really like samba, you know." I said, "Oh, okay. Oh, okay. I'll have to think about that." So
Well,
you know, it's like,
what is the difference? If somebody said, "Play me a samba and play me a salsa," what do you think? What's the feel and what's it like? What's the
yeah.
difference?
Well, you know, the hardest part, of course, what they, you know, this, the typical bass line, what they call tumbao, you know,
Hmm.
is like it almost never hits the downbeat. You know, it's always on the upbeat. You know, so if you're not used to it, it's easy to kind of get turned around or you know, like
Right.
lose track of where everything is going. You know, whereas the samba is really downbeat oriented. You know, more
Mm,
like you know, real, you know.
yeah.
Um,
So,
so yeah,
so
it's a
the
big
bass line,
difference.
it'd be more like the samba is more like ka-dung, ka-dung,
Yeah,
ka-dung.
yeah,
And
very downbeat
right,
oriented. You know.
and the tumba is like dun, 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 that kind of
More
like
like that, like
yeah,
upbeats, yeah. And
yeah,
then you know, like very rarely do you actually play a downbeat, you know, or you can, you know, but it doesn't happen a lot in a traditional tumbao, you know, feel.
right.
Yeah.
Uh, I I'm trying to think of there's like never a downbeat. And do you leave when you're doing that salsa kind of stuff that's not samba? Do you? like leave a lot of breath between notes sometimes? Like just
Yes. Well, there is, obviously there's so many different styles of salsa, right?
mm,
I mean, you have the traditional romantic guy, the romantic, with a lot of bands play, and then you leave a lot of room. But then, of course, in Cuba, they keep moving on, and they have what they call timba. They have essentially just playing funk over Latin rhythms, So it can be really accentuated, really, uh, you know, um, a lot of upbeats, a lot of, lines, busy, and it can be all over the place, So there's a lot of different styles of Latin music.
right.
Yeah. But in the traditional music, yeah, you would leave more room and play more like a conga player.
Oh,
When
that's
I was first time I lived in LA, I played with Francisco Aguabea for a long time.
mm,
And that's where I kind of learned how to do the whole muted, muted
oh,
thing, sound like a baby bass,
right.
and leave a lot of space and just lay into it.
Mm. I'd
Yeah.
never heard anybody mention playing like a conga player though. That
Yeah, I think it's kind of that sound. It
yeah,
has that the baby bass has a lot of, to me anyway, maybe other people don't feel that way, but to me it sounds a lot like a conga drum.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, the Latin salsa thing, and because of its rhythmic syncopation, sort of lends itself to Tower of Power's groove a little bit.
Right.
I
I
think
think so. Very much so.
because there's a lot of notes, a lot of syncopation, and
Yes.
it's kind of on the upside of everything.
Exactly. Yeah.
And that would be a lot different than the other kind of funk or
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Yeah.
A question: did you ever play at Lou's Pier 40? Is it Pier 47?
Uh,
Yeah, yeah, Lou's. You remember Lou's, the little blues club?
no. Are you talking about Pier 23 maybe?
No.
No.
Well, I'm trying to remember. It was Lou's Pier, and Steve said 47, and I'm not, for some reason, I'm not thinking it was 47, but it
Yeah.
was a little bar, little dive bar, you know.
Well,
And the reason is I walked by there one time. I had taken a lesson in how to dance like cha-cha and stuff.
wow. How
And there
about that?
right, I don't know why I thought it would
Well,
be,
let's see this.
but no.
Okay. Just kidding.
So
It's okay.
so at Lou's, and I remember going to Lou's, and there was a salsa band in there, and
Yeah.
I was watching those guys dance. And
Yeah.
I thought, well, I'll go learn, I'll go and be able to dance. Oh my God, no.
Oh, I
No,
know. I
God,
know.
the way
Oh man. Yeah.
oh,
Salsa dancing. Oh boy.
it's unbelievable. This well, I just had I looked for a minute and said, nah, I'm
Yeah.
done. Yep.
Yeah. No, I hear you, man. It's when people can really know what they're doing, it's unbelievable.
Right.
Yeah. No, that's
So
yeah.
now jumping into when did you first play with Tower of Power?
Well, when Rocco got his liver transplant,
Mm-hmm.
that's when I subbed. But the problem was I had actually sort of auditioned with them. I believe it was in January of that year, sometime. And but like it kept going on. They tried to go as long as they could, and I guess he was probably on the list to receive the transplant. And so by the time they finally said, can you sub, I had actually gotten the Wayne Brady show. So
Mm,
I actually first had to turn it down, Tower. But then luckily, Emilio said, well, Bobby Vega will do it, but he cannot do it right away either because I think he was playing with who's that Grateful Dead drummer?
oh,
You know him.
yeah,
Cha
yeah,
Cha, who's the
yeah. It's
who's the Grateful Mickey Hart.
Mickey Hart. Yeah.
Mickey Hart, so I did I think maybe like 2 months with Tower. That's
Mm-hmm.
when I started. Yeah.
And then did you become pretty much the regular call for the sub on that chair?
Well, I did. I subbed a bunch of times.
Yeah.
You know, through the years, whenever there was something going on with Rocco. But I
Right.
couldn't always do it, you know. But yeah, yeah,
And what was it? Did it feel like a challenge trying to, because we all know, like I talked to Ronnie Beck.
yeah,
I had him on, and you can't play Soul Vaccination without actually trying to play Dave's drum part,
right.
Rocco's bass part. Was
Yeah.
that a challenge to try to play those parts and emulate it? Did you try to emulate it as best
Well,
you could, or what?
yeah. I mean, that's obviously, you know, the most interesting, you know, thing to deal with playing with a band like Tower, because you know Rocco was such an instrumental part in creating that sound, you know.
Right.
And as we all know, none of us can really play like him. You know,
I
it's
mean,
just not possible. You
I-
know.
there's nobody. There's nobody. The only guy that I can remotely think and is sort of that same style as maybe Jocko. But
Well, apparently, you know, Jaco was influenced by Rocco. You know.
really,
Yeah. I mean, you know, there were some guys like Chuck Rainey. You know, when
right?
you listen to Aretha's, what's that, Rocksteady, or what's his name?
Yeah,
You know,
rocks.
when it goes to the four part, you can kind of hear that 16th note thing. So, you know, I mean, as I always say, nothing happens in a vacuum, you know.
Right.
People, you know, pick up
Right.
things from different people, but just simple the fact that Rocco's technique on his left hand and right hand, you know, nobody really plays like that, you know.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, you know, using just two fingers and kind of mute everything else. I certainly didn't learn to play like that, you know.
Yeah.
So, although, you know, I really have to honor those bass lines, like you say,
Hmm.
but I'm not pretending to
To be
be Rocco or even want to be Rocco, really, you know.
right.
I
Right.
just want to be myself playing tower music. But, you know, we have to honor all the, you know, iconic lines that he created, you know.
Right. It's almost like when you're playing So Very Hard to Go.
Yeah.
Right? And all the fans know that song. All the fans can sing the trumpet solo or the flugelhorn
Yeah.
solo, right?
Yeah.
Everybody knows it. And
Sure.
then Adolfo, how does he himself yet keep the flavor of the song? It's that same sort of idea, and
Yeah.
the bass and drum chair are kind of that same way. What
Yeah.
did it uh, over the years? You've been able to be more yourself and feel more comfortable with not sticking perfectly to it sometimes, you know
Well,
what I'm saying?
yeah, it depends on the song, you know. I mean, some songs are so typical, you know, the bass line is so instrumental in the song, you know, like What Is Hip, for example. You
Right,
know, you're not going to play a different line, you know. It just doesn't make sense, you know.
right,
And there's a lot of songs like that, you know, where it's very specific, you know. His bass part became part of the song, part of the arrangement, you know.
hmm,
But then there's also places where you can kind of, you know, veer away from it. And we're really lucky that, you know, Emilio actually likes it when you know, he doesn't necessarily always want you to do exactly what the previous guy did. And this goes for everybody, you know. And so, you know, he allows for some improvisation, you know. And then he'll give me a little look like, oh yeah, you know.
yeah.
And so it's nice, you know.
I
Yeah.
always like how you guys would do sound check, where you just kind of walk up and just sort of start playing
Yeah.
stuff,
Yeah.
and listening to you guys, you and Roger and Jerry and Dave, and you just playing, and I'm thinking, wow, is that going to be one of the next new tunes?
It could be, right?
Right?
I
Yeah.
always joke, it's like, man, if you recorded every sound check, you would have
Oh,
a record pretty soon,
yeah.
you know?
It's amazing. You guys
Yeah,
would just go off on stuff.
I know.
And then
I
you
know.
go, okay, what about this tune? And because you might be doing something that you hadn't played for a while.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
was it like learning the whole? I know you don't do the whole book, like
No.
there's so many tunes, but there's a lot of tunes,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
having to retain them, is how hard was that?
Well, it's kind of strange, really, because I actually don't have a good memory. I don't remember anything from my own life, you know? It's strange, you know, even my mom always gets upset with me because I don't remember vacations or things we did before. But for some reason with music, um, maybe because I've been freelance musician for a long time, always having to learn a lot of music all the time, I can learn something pretty quick and, you know, remember it fairly quick too, you
Mm.
know. So I guess it just got lucky in that sense.
Well, yeah, I think that's one of the skill sets that as musicians we learn to have
Yeah,
do, because sometimes the charts don't make sense, or
yeah,
you get thrown in on a gig and all of a sudden you go, okay, we're playing this in a couple of hours, and you have to develop a sense of remembering
yeah,
how things go. Maybe that's
right.
part of what we all have to do.
I think so.
Um,
Yeah,
a question
yeah,
was, bass was always your primary instrument, right? Do you play anything else?
yeah. No, well, I when I first was a little kid, I played a little classical guitar,
Hmm.
and then I think I kind of got my technique from that. But no, I've always played bass, yeah. And as you can see the piano here, when I write music, I use a piano most of the time.
Now, have you set up a home studio to sit in
Yes,
songs now?
that's where we are right now. I got my little thing here. I got my keyboard here. I have a bunch of orchestra sounds in there.
Nice.
Yeah.
Have you written songs for Tower yet?
No, no,
Are you going
no.
to?
Well, actually, I no, I mean, I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. But because I'm actually writing some stuff for my own next CD. But
Okay.
there's one thing, and talking about sound checks, I
Yeah.
had a little idea, a little baseline thing, and I ran it by Roger and Dave, and they immediately made it sound great. And so I'm thinking about, writing a song tower style,
Yeah.
and having them hopefully play on it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just this morning I was practicing and I was working on it a little bit. Got a little further with it.
Oh, is your piano on?
No,
Oh,
no, it's not. No,
well,
sorry. I
play it, play it. Yeah.
don't have actually. It's just a bass line so far. I haven't even gotten chords on it yet, but I'll
Yeah.
keep you posted.
All right. So now, somebody that recently tuned in, do you play
Yeah.
double bass, which is upright, which
Right.
you gave the story of the one time?
Yes, I played upright once on a gig. Yeah,
Sometimes I think the upright bass is put on stage and asked to be played just because of how it looks.
it's a beautiful instrument, no doubt.
Right. I
Yeah,
mean, it looks fantastic. Could you
yeah.
imagine what it would be like to do an unplugged tower set with an acoustic bass?
Yeah, it would be something, huh?
That would
Yeah.
be
Can
interesting.
you imagine that?
Wow, that would be kind of cool.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you guys, you seem to fit really well in the personality of the band,
Uh,
and
Thank you.
it seems, I don't know if I had a picture of you and Dave and Jerry and Roger, and watching the band, that from the times I've come to see the band and the little bit I did on the road with you guys are such a family. I mean, you so get along well,
Yeah.
and it,
They're just great people, really.
yeah,
I want, especially, I mean, Dave, I knew Dave before I joined Tower, because we had played together in different situations already. And then, we just always kind of got along musically and otherwise. And then, of course, we went to the accident together. So that created more bond. And
yeah. So
no, I just love him as a brother, really, you know. And
yeah,
yeah, everybody in the band is nice, man. They still, almost daily there's texts going back and forth, even after all these months, and so it's nice, really. Yeah,
and just for those who are, I'm sure everybody watching knows about the accident that you
yeah,
and Dave went through, and you were in worse shape than Dave.
yeah, I think so. Yeah,
And I asked if it was a sensitive issue. And I say that only because I was reading just recently, somebody said, didn't a bunch of those guys die? I mean, there's so much.
I know. Hey, take it easy there, people.
Yeah.
Still here for crying out loud.
Right, he's still here. So Mark and Dave went through the accident, recovered, and have been touring now for the last couple of years, right?
Yeah,
or year and a half
yeah.
or so, or a little
Well,
more.
yeah. This would have been the third year, but yeah,
Sure.
obviously nothing going on. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
And what that must have been really difficult for you. I mean, do you talk about the accident much? I mean, it was horrific, and all of the fans, including myself, when I heard it, because I've been a fan, it was.
Hmm.
I mean, I can't. Everybody was in shock, and
Yeah, it's bizarre, you know. I don't think about it a lot about the actual accident, you know, but yeah, you know, we still live with the after effects, you know, unfortunately, and
yeah.
probably will have to forever more.
Mm.
But you know, yeah,
It, what did it affect physically most?
yeah. Well, there's a few things in my case. Um, First of all, I cannot smell or taste anything, so
Mm,
that's one big thing, you know, because that's a big part of life's enjoyment, you know.
mm,
So that's one. My lung capacity is not 100% anymore.
mm,
You know, I broke so many ribs, and they call it a flail chest, where everything is like pushed, you know, out.
mm,
And, you know, they healed very odd because they were like matchsticks, you know. So
mhm,
there's always pressure, and there's always, you know, uh, a little short of breath a lot of times, you know.
mm,
Um, and then, you know, there's just, all in all, not so, you know, I don't feel that great a lot of times, you know.
mm.
And it's kind of hard to explain, but you know, yeah,
No,
uh,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Well, I'm happy that you're back and happy that I
Thank you.
got to know you and meet you and everything. There,
Yes, we had a good time.
yeah,
Yeah,
and um, there a couple of people have asked because now apparently it's public knowledge that you're looking for a new singer
yes,
in
yes,
the band.
yeah,
Has there been
yeah.
any uh, idea of zeroing in on anybody?
Well, you know, I mean, they have made a short list. I mean, they've been listening to tons of singers, you know,
Yeah.
and people have suggested different people, and you know, Emilio has made like a list of 4 or 5 guys,
Mhm.
and so I think eventually, you know, there will be some auditions and all that, you know.
Yeah.
You know, it's as you stated before. I haven't played with a ton of singers because I've done a lot of instrumental music, like you said,
Hmm.
and so I kind of, you know, and I know, you know, the guys, Emilio especially, you know, they're so they're so they've gone through it so many times before. They know what they're looking for. They know what they need. You know what I mean? They know the process. I'm kind of leaving it up to them to figure it out because um, it's also hard for me because when I hear a song, I listen to the whole thing. So it kind of influences me how I feel about what I'm hearing from the singer. You know, I
Right.
have a hard time separating the two things.
Right.
So I've kind of leave it up to them because they know what they're doing. They've done it so many times before, you know. So
Yeah.
yeah, they're still looking all the time, but they've kind of made a list. So eventually, I think some of those people will come and audition. You know.
It singers are just from a musician, drummer, stand.
Yeah.
Singers are a whole different beast
Yeah.
today because
Apparently.
you know
Yeah, that's what I'm learning.
well, it's interesting because they've got to be able to be the right personality to fit the band
Yeah,
because it
yeah,
really is a family. It,
that's true, man. And I have to be right away. I have to say, you know, being a singer in Tower Power is not easy
no,
because you know they have to give 100% energy, man. And I know, you know, uh, losing your voice is easy to do, and you know they put a lot of energy, and there's a lot of gigs, as you all know. You know, Tower works all the time when we are working.
right.
And so I take my hat off for any singer who does that gig, you know. It's really, yeah. Anyway, I interrupted you.
Yeah. Well, no, the family, it's a family. So you
Yeah,
have to fit in that part. But then again, the singer, what you just said, to take that a little further, they need to be the person, the front of the band.
yeah,
They're the ones that need to grab the people
yeah,
and entertain, which
yeah,
takes a little bit of an ego.
yeah.
You know, it takes a
True.
little bit of that.
Yeah,
And then sonically fill the shoes of all of the singers that have came
right.
before them.
Exactly. It's
So
tough.
yeah,
Yeah.
it would
I
be
mean, I'll be, I get compared to Rocco all the time. But if you're a singer, you get compared to about
oh
20 guys or whatever, just
right,
like constantly,
right.
And like you say, yeah, you know, it takes a lot of energy for us to play, but we can still kind of, we're kind of hiding behind our instruments. You're the singer, you're out there, you're kind of,
Right, right.
I take my hat off, period, man.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
And Marcus was great, as far as that energy came.
man,
He brought a whole young kind of energy to the whole thing.
he did his age
Yeah.
seemed to make the band more contemporary, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. I agree. Yeah.
And but the band is just it without a singer, it's fine. You know, it's
Well, yeah.
musically, it's just
Yeah.
it's fine.
I mean, that's actually what I love about Tower of Power is that it's not about, we're not backing up the singer, it's,
Right.
it's about everything in the band. People love the songs. They love either the horn section or they love the rhythm section or the whole thing, or, it's like, it's a band thing. It's not a individual thing.
It is. It's a book of music or a repertoire of music that holds up, that is something that the band seems to be a fan of themselves.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I certainly am.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So respect to the music, and from that point of view, I mean, how many bands are there now? I mean, it's mostly just like a singer, it's
Yeah.
Sheila E. or
Right.
Beyonce, and
Exactly.
are there many bands really that are a band, like a book of music, that
Yeah.
is still doing it?
No,
No.
I think it's more, maybe more common with certain rock bands, where,
Mm,
like U2 or something, or bands that have been around a long time as well. But I think you're right. A lot of times, if you're talking about Beyonce, you don't know who's playing in that band, or it could be anybody. It's her thing and her music, and so on. And but it's not that way in Tower, and that's what's cool about it, in my opinion.
right.
Yeah.
Everybody plays this music, and I said this to Dave and everybody. I always say this: it doesn't matter what song you end with; it's still a great ending song. It doesn't
Hmm.
matter which song you do as the encore; it's still going to sound like a great encore song,
Yeah.
because they're
Yeah.
all, as a fan of the music, everybody is, oh wow, I love that song.
Yeah. I
Do you-
agree. I agree. Makes you happy. In fact, somebody just left old, I don't know how old it is, but a live thing with Tommy Bowe singing it. I think You Can't Fall Up or something. I just saw this yesterday, and I was
oh
like, "Oh man, they just write songs that make you feel good, makes you feel happy. It's upbeat.
all of them.
Yeah, and
What
yeah,
do you
yeah.
have a favorite? Do you have a favorite?
Oh, there's so many. There's many. Um,
Ah,
Gosh, man.
yeah,
Well, yeah, I always like when we start with "I Like Your Style" because that's just a great, another example of something that's up and you know, it's yeah. I
you
like
know,
your style. I like on the serious side. I like
mm,
I like In the Slot. I like God, just a lot of them, man. I said, God,
one
yeah,
song that I haven't heard you
yeah.
guys do is Funkifies.
We used to do that a lot. Yeah, you haven't heard us do that?
Not
Oh,
not in recent years,
yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
but my favorite, I've got two favorites.
Okay.
Surely as I stand here,
Oh yeah, yeah. I forgot to mention that. I
but-
agree.
and Can't You See?
Oh well, I agree with that too.
And
Yeah,
when I was out, you guys had just started doing that again.
Yeah.
I mean, I love those songs.
Those songs are great, man. I mean, Chester Thompson, man, he wrote some amazing stuff for that band. You
Yeah.
know, As Surely is just killer. What a great song. And
Mhm.
yeah, Can't You See is just so much fun to play always.
Yeah.
It's just like a perfect puzzle.
Yeah. All of it. Man, we could go on
Yeah,
for songs.
I know. That's true.
Um,
That's true. Did you
uh,
ever play any of them?
yeah, when I was a kid. Here's the interesting thing. This is what I think is really funny is how many bands over the years that when you're playing a casual, because most when I did the circus, that was a show. Then I did cruise ships, which was kind of weird. Then for a while, I backed up some people that came to town in San Francisco, like Victimone and Jerry Vale and some of those old Italian guys.
Yeah.
And I did some of those. But whenever I do casuals and there were horns, everybody would always want to bust into What Is Hip, set, da 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 da, is that, everybody would think it would be cool, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I tried to learn, all the stuff, but never did I play in a band that did the Tower tunes.
Yeah.
Because most of back then when I was playing, they were just too hard to do.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't have just the drummer be able to do it or just the bass player. The whole band need to be able to play it. And overall, they're not easy tunes to do for a band.
Yeah. No, that's true. I agree with that. Yeah.
I mean, you got the trumpet player, the lead has to be great. The singer's got to be great. You got to have good tenor players. I mean, come on. And you need a Barry player.
That's true. That's true. That's a big part of it. Yeah, that's no doubt.
Oh, so when you're listening to the group, and I mean, we're just sort of like talking about all kinds of stuff here.
Yeah.
When you're listening to the groove and you guys are playing, and there's so much going on, the grooves are really complex, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's lots of notes being played.
Yeah.
So what do you listen to when you're hearing and trying to work around everybody else's stuff and make that all fit?
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're very right. It's like it's busy music, certainly on the bass part and the drum. Between Roger, myself, and Dave and everything, we play a lot of notes, a lot of 16, fill a lot of space. But I think the secret is that when it fits like a puzzle, it doesn't sound like it's a lot because I don't know how to say it. It's just the combination is part of a puzzle that fits together, and because it's not fighting each other, then it doesn't sound busy. At least not to me. Some people may say, "Wow, that's a lot of stuff. That's a lot. There's a lot of stuff going on." But I think when it fits well together, it just becomes part of the whole picture. The horns fit here, keyboard fits there, Dave fits here, I fit here, Jerry fits there. You know what I mean?
It does sound better, and I think I understand what you're saying, because sometimes you'll listen to a band and the bass player will sit in and he'll start playing lots of notes, and it just sounds like a lots of notes,
Right.
and everybody's
right. Yeah. Of course, it's it's a matter of taste too.
Right.
Some people may say, "Well, that's a lot of notes," but I think when you listen to it, and when you listen to the old Tower stuff with Rocco playing, there's a lot of notes, but it's just that's the sound and it fits. It's like it's not they're not fighting each other. It's complementing each other.
Right.
And when Roger and I do it together, a lot of times we either play stuff together or we kind of in between each other, and we kind of we work together on that stuff all the time.
Right. Does Roger do some low stuff with his?
He does sometimes. Sometimes we do stuff together where his left hand, I copy his left hand. Yeah, he plays a lot of stuff but he has the same thing where he tries to be part of the puzzle and not fight the puzzle. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
And he does it remarkably well. Obviously.
Yeah. A favorite song. Steve DiGiulio says. Do you know Steve DiGiulio?
Not sure.
He's another fan. I mean, you guys got fans. Here's the other thing. about fans.
Yeah.
What I've noticed is, and why you guys are a family. And he says "We Came to Play" is a good opening song.
Oh, that's a great song too. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Is that the way you treat your fans and the way everybody knows the band is like I had Tom on one night. People were calling from all over, and you all know people from all over that come every time you go to those cities. And
Well,
do you, when you started touring with them, like most of the time, how did that all feel to you? Because it seems so many people know the band.
yeah. I mean, it's amazing, really, because I remember one time when I was subbing still, and there was a guy in the audience who had come, and it was his 100th show that he'd come to, and I'm like, holy moly, that's unbelievable. And I think there's a lot of people who have seen, you know, multiple shows, and yeah, it's just, you just have to go. That's fantastic,
Well,
And then, a lot of the guys in the band have been in the band so long, even some of the newer guys, like Roger has been in there for 20 years. Tom has been there like 17 or 18 years. Adolfo, they've all been there for so many years that they're familiar with a lot of the people that come regularly, Um, slowly but surely, I'm starting to recognize some people, I must say though, like a lot of times, I'm not like a big mingling kind of person,
mm,
especially after you play, I kind of usually go to the dressing room, and kind of chill out. But I've met a few people that have been really long time tower people, and it's kind of cool to see that. I mean, it's amazing that these people are, that they come so often and still enjoy it, and it's fantastic. Yeah,
yeah, and
amazing. Yeah,
50 years, man, that's a long
it's
time.
incredible, man. And some people, have been coming since the beginning,
Yeah.
and they've seen all the different formations, and you know, uh,
And you're like the new kid.
I'm like the new kid in the. Now, when there's a new singer, now I'm going to be the old. Now I'm not going to be the new kid anymore. So the hazing will stop now.
Yeah, now they can pick on somebody else.
Yeah, yeah. Tell that to Garibaldi.
Oh,
Yeah,
does he mess with you a lot?
we mess with each other nonstop.
Oh,
Oh man, as creative as he is on the drums, he is as creative giving people, you know what.
well, give me an example. So here's interesting because the short time I was with you, you and Adolfo were like the quietest people. You,
Yeah,
you guys were really quiet.
yeah,
Dave seems to be quiet too, but there were a
yeah.
couple of times when he'd start talking and it was he can kind of you know be funny. I mean, he can.
Oh man, he's very funny. Are you kidding?
What is he is he pulled pranks on you?
No, it's not so much the prank thing. It's just he has a creative way of using his language in a like a humorous way,
Uh-huh.
And a lot of times it's just done with texts. He literally sometimes texts me while we're like 2 rows apart in the airplane or in the van, and he starts texting about something. And he's just very creative, not just drumming, but also his comedy. It's very
Mm,
creative.
mm,
But
mm.
we love giving each other, a hard time. It's just, about the most stupidest thing you can think of.
Yeah,
Stuff that makes no sense whatsoever, you
yeah,
know. But it's fun because it keeps you kind of, keeps you
yeah.
mellow.
It keeps you connected and
Yeah,
and from the band standpoint, it's really great being around a group of guys that just get along and are easygoing. I've never seen
yeah,
such a group of guys so easygoing.
yeah.
Really?
I think it's part for a lot of them. They've been doing it so long. They just know how to do it.
Yeah.
And Tower, I'm sure, has seen their share of complicated relationships over the decades. But they just know they know how to do this thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I mean, disagreements will happen occasionally, but all in all, man, it's like. But that's what I like. I see it as a team. It's a team effort. You
Yeah.
know, it really is.
So when do you think we're getting close? We've been
Yeah.
talking a little over an hour already.
Oh, wow. How about that?
It goes quick, you know.
Yeah, it does.
And this is the same. I sat and talked with you and Tom when we were in New Jersey, at that sushi restaurant.
Yeah.
And we talked, and this is sort of how we talk. We were just
Yeah.
sitting and talking about stuff.
Yeah.
And so, how long do you think it'll be? I mean, we've heard so many stories, and now that the state's closing down again,
I know.
other states, to me, I just think that tours or gigs aren't going to really happen until maybe even next year.
Yeah, that's my feeling too. I mean, there's concerts that are still on the books this year,
Mm-hmm.
but I just don't see it either. I just don't see it
Yeah.
until there's either a therapy or a vaccine. I just don't see it happening.
I think the one thing that might work if the majority of people can just not trip out and just learn to be respectful of others.
Do you think it's really going to happen?
Well, not in the United States, but
No, exactly. It's not
no.
going to happen.
But if there was a way, outdoor concerts would be the safest.
Yeah.
And if you could limit the number of people, and they would set up a socially distanced, like at a park, and have everybody bring a blanket and set up apart and wear a mask.
Right. Yeah.
Could probably do some pretty decent shows.
That's true. Yeah. I mean, it probably eventually will lead to that, Actually, the end of September, we're supposed to go to play in Arizona in some outdoor thing, which is outside. But yeah, I still don't really see it happening, honestly. But, I don't know. Who knows, right?
Yeah, it's, we were all hoping that, things would start opening up by now.
I know. Now, how are you doing with all of this stuff?
No, I'm not. I'm done. I'm like, there's no gigs because everything I do is live sound.
Yeah.
So I don't even do, I'm not a studio guy. There are some sessions, some music, some stuff happening because there's a lot of content going out on TV and movies, and everything's being streamed now. But some of that happened in Los Angeles. But I'm not one of those guys. What I'm doing are these live streams. This is I've been doing these now since the first week. This is my 15th week.
Wow. Now, can you make some money doing this thing?
No. Well, Tom has made me put up my Venmo a couple of times, Venmo up. And believe me, all of the people that have donated money to me pretty much have been Tom's friends.
Wow.
And sent contributions based on me putting up my Venmo. Now, Grant, it's helped a lot because I needed money now for a short period of time. Have you been getting the unemployment at all?
Well, no, I haven't done the unemployment thing, but with the help of Tower, I've done some of the guys have done the PPP loan.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, I pretty soon I'm gonna have to find out how much of it I have to pay back, but that's what I've done so far.
Yeah. Well, I did a little bit of unemployment and then it stopped. So I've just been paying rent and nothing else, so every little bit helps. So I'm not going to say, $25 helps because who knows when we're going to be making money. I mean, as a musician, the musicians are having trouble, but also the support industry, the front of house guys.
Of course. Yeah, totally. Absolutely.
And, the stage hands and it's
tons. Yeah.
So how many kids do you have?
I have 2.
And how are they doing?
Well, both of them were in the service industry. And so both of them lost their jobs. Like my daughter has been able to get, unemployment. And I don't know, but I'm hoping that they will extend that $600 a week thing for everybody. It's supposed to end, I think, next month, but I'm hoping that they will extend it.
Yeah.
For everybody. And then, my son was living abroad for the last 4 years, so he's not able to have, get unemployment, but he's still okay. He saved some money and, he's getting in the wine thing now. He's signed up for some wine classes, sommelier classes, and
Th-
you know,
those guys, you know what? I was talking to somebody about that recently.
yeah,
Those the wines. How do you say it again? I can't say it well.
the
Sauvignon.
sommelier,
Yeah, Sauvignon.
sommelier, yeah.
Yeah, those guys, those people make a lot of money.
Yeah, well, but see, there's only like 200 some actual, sommeliers that have gone all the way, and I
Mm,
think, from what I understand, that takes 8 years to do.
really?
But you can also, you can get certificates, and like in his case, he's taking a class to be certified for California wines, and
Mm,
like there's different stages,
right.
and Roger actually has helped him with it a lot.
Oh, that.
Roger hooked him up with an actual sommelier, and they just, they had a long conversation, and thanks to Roger, yeah.
Yeah. And
Um,
have you been to Roger's Winery?
yes, we actually played there with the band
Oh,
once, but
wow.
I've also been there a couple times, just, to hang out. Yeah, it's a great place. Have you been there?
I've not.
Oh,
No,
you should go, man. It's
I'll,
fun.
I'll have to go check it
Yeah,
out.
it's
Yeah.
it's a beautiful space. It's a beautiful building. It's old sugar mill, old school, like brick, and you can sit outside, and they have food trucks, and yeah, it's actually very nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe we can talk Roger into start having live outdoor concerts.
Well, actually, that is part of his plan, I think.
Oh,
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Good. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
The unfortunate thing for me is I'm in Southern California.
Yeah. I know.
A long
I
way
know.
drive to go see a show.
No, no kidding. No kidding. Yeah. We'll see how that all goes. I don't know. It's all
Yeah.
pretty,
Yeah.
unclear still. But yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I you know I don't want to keep you a whole lot longer because I got nothing to do. But
It's all good, man. Yeah, I've already practiced, so I'm done for the day.
how much do you practice?
Today I practiced 2 hours.
Wow, 2
Yeah.
hours.
Yeah. So
That's quite a bit. Do you practice 2 hours every day?
no, no, not at all. No. I usually do 1 hour, and almost the same for the last 40 years. It's kind of like sports, I do a certain thing, all divided up in different things that I do. And if I do that every day, then my chops stay pretty good,
Okay.
But today I was just kind of feeling like I just wanted to improvise a little bit.
Hmm. Well,
Yeah.
I'm wondering because I stopped playing drums just because I got
Completely?
completely. Yeah.
Wow.
And the main reason is because I've gotten so many sound gigs that I would never pick up my sticks. And if somebody called me for a gig, I go like, I would be embarrassed to play, even though I might be able to kind of play time. All I would hear is what I'm not being able to do.
Yeah.
So it just didn't make sense for me to even try to keep up my chops. You
I
know,
hear you.
uh,
Yeah.
like you'll want to keep doing it because the minute if you don't, the minute Tower comes back, you were like, oh man, I got to practice quick. And
Yeah.
yeah, you
Well,
know,
but the thing is, as we could practice every day, but it's not the same as playing a gig,
that's true. Yeah.
and I mean, it's like, you know, they're two different skill levels. And I know that once we start playing, you know, hopefully we have a chance to rehearse for a while to kind of get back into that, band thing,
Right. Yeah.
and,
Yeah. At
you
least
know,
there's something.
yeah, it's a totally different thing. So it takes a while. And that is the great thing about Tower. We play so much normally that the level is always kind of pretty high to begin with.
Okay. So I just got to, I
That's
heard,
okay.
um, um, how much fun was the 50th anniversary show? And how many rehearsals prior to the show did you do?
Yeah. Well, it was really fun because, I don't know if that person was there, but we had a 10-piece string section. We had two backup singers, Tony Lindsay and Melanie Carciolo or
Mhm.
Jackson. Um, then, of course, we had a bunch of the original members, which was, you know, it was, for me personally, it was really nice to. I really enjoyed talking with Lenny Pickett. He's just
Mm.
very, very nice person, and and Bruce Conti was there, and Chester Thompson was there, and it was just a real pleasure, to do that like that. And we had I think about 5 days of rehearsal in Oakland before those shows.
Mm.
I believe 4 or 5. I'm not sure.
Yeah, that would.
Yeah,
And did a bunch of the guys come and play and rehearse, do all the rehearsal?
yeah. Everybody was there. Rocco was there. Everybody was there every day. Yeah.
Man.
So it's just nice to blab with everybody and
Yeah,
play. Yeah. So
that I'm trying to imagine because I was such a fan, when I was a kid, and I've told this story a few times over the last few weeks.
yeah,
The three records that I bought was Sons of Champlin, Welcome to the Dance, Tower of Power, Bump City, and Cold Blood, First Taste of Sin, like in
yeah,
1972, 73 time period. Aztec
yeah,
actually had one out then too that I listened to last night.
yeah. Oh yeah, cool.
But I grew up with being such a fan
Yeah,
that it's hard to when you're around all those people, it's like, wow, it doesn't matter how old I am, I'm still going to feel like I did as a kid,
sure.
being around those people.
No, I can relate to that. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, like, being around Rocco and everything,
yeah,
it just would have been, whoa,
yeah.
to me.
No, no, of course. Yeah, I get it. I get it, man. Absolutely. Yeah. And yeah, all those bands, when you think about even Azteca, when you think about the players that they had,
Yeah.
Paul Jackson, Lenny White. I mean, what a great band.
Well, I want to mention also on Thursday, Lenny White is going to be a guest of mine.
Really?
Yeah, one
Well,
o'clock Thursday.
tell them I'm a fan.
Okay. I and
Oh, by the way, also, Will Champlin, Champlin.
yeah, yeah.
What a great singer. I wasn't that familiar with him growing up, but
Hmm.
man, what a great singer.
Well, yeah, he was a great singer, and I had him on my show last
I
Monday.
know. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And the things that I didn't know that he did. I At the time, I think I remember, but I'd forgotten. Like on Al Jarreau's Breaking Away album, he did most of all the background singing.
Oh, wow, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
He was friends with Jay Graydon and David Foster,
Oh, wow.
and Jay Graydon was bringing him in to do all these vocal sessions, and of to me, the sound of his voice, the timbre of his voice is unique and recognizable as Michael McDonald.
Yeah, I agree. I have to agree. Yeah.
And I didn't know that he had done a lot of sessions he did a bunch of the vocals on that Starship tune, uh, or no, Tubes. It was a Tubes tune, like "Don't Fall in Love" or whatever that
Oh,
song is.
yeah. Yeah.
He was doing like a bunch of those backgrounds.
Uh,
I'm like, oh man, I didn't know
yeah.
that.
Yeah. I guess it was just amazing, really. What a voice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean that, and all of those people that we're talking about come out of that Bay Area sound, that
Yeah.
all that stuff. And when I was a kid, I remember running into this trumpet player going like, yeah, man, I'm playing on this gig, man, but man, I want to get to Frisco, man. I got to get to Frisco because that's where it's happening, you know?
Yeah, that's right. But don't call it Frisco for crying out loud.
Right? Oh, man,
Just
don't
kidding.
say Frisco in San Francisco.
Just kidding. Yeah, man. Well, this, you think about it, man. What an amazing bunch of bands there were here.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Jeez.
And so when you were doing with Pete and was Coke still around doing a bunch of those things too?
He was still alive when I was here. My brother actually played with him,
Mhm.
but I actually never played in his band. No,
Mhm.
no,
And
no.
uh, let's see, I was trying to think of some of those guys that were original. Who were some of the other guys playing in the band when you were doing it again?
Pete
Yeah.
originally. Well, we had Wayne Wallace was playing trombone.
Okay.
Larry
Yeah.
Schneider was playing saxophone. I can't remember exactly. Oh, Richard Commode was a great piano player who passed away young, but really great. I think he played with Santana for a while too. Um, I'm not sure who was playing trumpet at the time. Maybe Bill Ortiz, but I'm not 100% sure.
Oh,
But that
Bill.
was and then Sheila was playing congas
Mhm.
and Pete playing timbales. Yeah.
Did you ever float through the Santana camp at all? Do any of those kinds of stuff?
You know, I actually auditioned for him. Um, I did 2 auditions with him, long, long time ago. Uh, and it is a little bit of a story because first I did an audition with just him and I. We played with a tape. It was like a little cassette recorder, and we played along with that, just him and I. And he really liked it. So then I went to do a audition at SIR, but I had some. I made first of all, I made a big mistake where I didn't learn any Santana songs. Big mistake. Yeah, I learned a big lesson that time. I was just practicing, to be in good shape, but I really didn't need to be in that good of a shape. I just needed to learn the songs.
Yeah.
But I was too young to, realize that. But also, and then,
What's the name of this band again?
yeah, I mean, of course, this is also before the time that you had YouTube and all that. And I think I probably didn't feel like, buying all the records because I didn't have enough money, probably.
You,
Uh,
well,
but
that's something different.
yeah, it is.
Then, if you needed to learn a Santana tune, you actually had
Buy
to
the record.
buy the record and listen.
Yeah. Now you can learn any song you want to learn and just get it on YouTube.
Right.
I mean, there's a big difference for sure.
Yeah, it's easier. It's easier. You can study anybody's music in a minute. Like, okay,
Yeah.
that song. Okay, I'll get it up.
Exactly. And then not only that, but you can get different versions of songs, which I really like. It's when you're learning a song, and I do this with Tower. I used to do that with Tower too. I learned the record version, then I look for live versions because arrangements change, grooves change, grooves changes.
Yeah.
I like to learn different versions of the same song, so I have a better idea.
Do you remember that first live Tower album they came out with What Is Hip was like 20 times faster than the record than the
Oh yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, you should see some of those. You should see some of those old YouTube, like Stroke 75.
Yeah.
It is like so effing fast. It's like unbelievable. But I actually kind of like that. I
Man,
kind of like it at that tempo.
oh, it goes by so fast. The song gets over quicker.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Oh man, that's funny. Yeah, that's true. Well, that was the 70s, right?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Oh man.
So, what genre is your original music that you were working on? Your original stuff that you were writing?
My original stuff?
Yeah.
Well, I only did one CD so far, and I did it with my brother.
Mm-hmm.
And both of us, grew up, with a lot of different styles of music. So on that CD, there's a little bit of almost like a classical kind of thing on there. Well, semi-classical, I'd say, but it's got Brazilian accordion on it and everything. And then there is some real Latin jazz on there. There's a Brazilian tune on there. Then there's a funk tune on there that Larry Braggs actually sang on, which, by the way, was fantastic because I had no lyrics, I had no melody. I just said, do something on this.
And he
did it in about 2 takes. He came up with the whole thing on his own.
Whoa.
Yeah, it was quite something.
He's really a great singer.
Yeah, I thought so. Thought so.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a, there's a bunch of different things on that CD, and that's kind of, the new one that I'm working on now is kind of going to be sort of similar. That, there's going to be different styles of music on there, because I like a lot of different stuff.
Yeah. So you'll have like a Tower kind of feel and maybe a Latin thing.
Yeah, a little bit of everything. Yeah, cool. But they're still in the future. I would love to do a more life-oriented CD with Dave and maybe Ray Obiedo and do more of like a funk thing with all of us where we kind of write together like like it was in the old days, you know.
Yeah,
Hopefully we'll be able to do that someday,
yeah,
you know.
and that's the way back in the early days of some of those bands. That's how
Yeah,
they would figure out they'd write tunes. They'd all sit and
like
just start playing stuff.
just start playing and, you know, like keep improvising stuff, and as you go make it a part, and you know,
Yeah.
yeah, that doesn't happen as much anymore now, you know.
Yeah.
But maybe, I don't know though. It'd be interesting to see if young people still do that nowadays, but I don't know.
And most people are just sitting in their room like we are right now.
Yeah, yeah, do everything themselves. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true. Yeah.
Like every time I try to think of her, Billie Eilish,
Oh yeah,
you
yeah.
know,
Right.
her brother sat in the bedroom and did all that stuff, and she
Yeah.
won, I don't know how many, 8, 9 Grammys or something silly.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
the things you can do in your studio, and yeah,
Yeah.
I can't wait to hear the stuff you do.
Well, man, I'll keep you posted. Yeah. I'm actually, you know, because of this whole situation, I'll probably make a little quicker progress than I otherwise would, you know.
Yeah.
So,
Well, if you need somebody to direct how it looks,
yes, yes. Oh my God, man. Now, next time you want me to wear like a suit or something, or
yeah, wear a tie,
yeah, or a sequence.
and do something different with the lighting and get a
Yes.
drop.
We'll get a set builder in here
That
next
was
time.
so funny when we were starting. I'm like, oh, can you change shirts? What?
It's like, what the heck is this? Jesus Christ.
I'm out.
Are you affiliated with any unions or what?
No, no. Oh
Oh man.
man. But Mark, this has been so much fun.
Oh man. Likewise.
Thank you for taking the time to do this. And
Ah,
and man, we've had a lot of people. I got to say that the Tower, one more time, shout out to the
yeah.
Tower Power fan base, man.
Yeah. Shout out to the fans, because really, you know, I mean, you guys are the ones. You guys are the ones.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and anytime that I have talked to any Tower person, they jump
Uh,
right in there,
it's
man.
great.
Yeah,
Really, we're so lucky, and you know, it's a fantastic thing, and hopefully, we'll all be able to get back to see each other soon.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, fingers crossed. I'm going to knock
Yes.
some wood. I do have a cajon sitting here
Oh
in my,
man.
just so
Well,
I could,
sit in.
I, I
No,
use
but
it.
hopefully you'll be joining us on some of those gigs
Yeah, well,
along the way.
I actually wouldn't mind doing it again. Doing
Yep.
some. I actually I love doing monitors because I got to stand next to the guys.
Yeah.
Uh, I I I I can't say that I enjoyed some of the houses that they were in because the guys
Yeah.
completely, a couple of times, man, I got so messed up and trying to recover from it is
I know. It's actually amazing. Sometimes we walk in and you can just see you guys, you know, or Jerry, and they're like, we don't know what's going on with this board, but every day it's a different board and different stuff. And so those guys, you know, you guys, um, it's tough, I'm sure, man. It's
oh man.
tough.
Well, that last one we did, the guy and I have they never fessed up, but they unplugged everything, and I was trying to plug it all plugged back all the monitors.
Why? Why did they do that?
I have no idea. And it was shocking to me because everything was on at a certain time, right?
What the heck?
And then we came back, and all of a sudden I went and there were no drums. The drums are all unplugged. And then there were some things in some different spots. And I was going, what just happened? And that's why it started late. And then by that time, some other stuff had happened. And it was just hard to start the show and try to recover,
Yeah, sure.
make it so that at least the audience was not really aware of anything. But
Yeah.
and I was the whole time it was just who
Um,
you don't know what some people do. and,
no. That's
and
why they talk a lot always about, you know, having our own boards, you know, because then at least, you know, you have the same equipment every time,
yeah,
and you know, it just simplify matters, you know. But
yeah,
of course, that's, you know.
there are some things that there was some on that one particular show at the Brooklyn Bowl. For me, had I just stood there like for a longer time and watched and made sure they didn't do anything, and it was sort of my bad because I trusted them and I shouldn't have. I figured it was 2 nights in a row. I mean, come on, 2 nights in a row, same
Oh, this
deal.
was actually in Brooklyn?
Yeah, you remember the Bowl?
Yeah.
And we did 2 nights in a row, and the first night everything was fine. So what was I to think the next night somebody would do something different?
Was it because there was another band playing or something?
It was a different guy running sound, a different guy mixing it for them.
Yeah, and, boy.
I mean,
tough.
So I have to sort of own it, because it's my job to keep an eye on that. And I figured, it's breeze. I mean, 2 nights in a row, same place. I mean, what?
Yeah, I would have felt the same way. Yeah. Oh, I think I remember this now.
Yeah,
I remember now.
I held up the show. No, it's not ready.
You were going crazy over there. I think it's coming back to me.
Yeah,
I feel for you, man. That's not a job I could do by any means. Holy moly.
Yeah, but Walter's standing behind me yelling and cussing.
Oh God, really?
All right, yeah. Oh man, it was
great. I'm sure that helped.
It
yeah.
It served no purpose at all other than just get in the way.
Yeah. Fantastic. All right.
Anyway, man, it was fun, man. It was fun hanging out.
All right, Jeff. Good to see you, man.
Yeah. And sorry about the whole monitor, coming up with that whole like nightmare again, but
oh no, it was not a nightmare. Now I know that you have to go to the preferences thing, which I have to remember to do again now so I can go back to the other way.
Yeah. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff when it comes to doing sound. So I'm gonna play when you get an original song.
Yeah.
I'll use it to play this song.
Well, you can look our CD. Well, you don't have to do it now, but my brother and I have a CD called Muziek, MUZIAEK.
MUZIEK. And
you should play Larry Braggs' tune called "You Guys Done Yet," if you see it.
Okay, hold on.
You Guys Done Yet.
Okay.
You see it?
I'm looking. Larry Braggs. Okay, hold on. See all. You Guys Done Yet?
Yeah.
You make me. I'm looking. I'm scrolling. I'm trying to go fast.
It's probably on YouTube. You could find it on YouTube.
Oh, you think?
Yeah. Pretty sure.
Okay. Well, I'll. You know what? Just because I can, I'm going to look.
Okay.
And I'm YouTube and.
You Guys Done Yet? On the VW Brothers.
Under VW Brothers?
Yeah.
You Guys Done Yet?
Yeah.
Oh, no, done yet. Sorry. VW. Hold on. This is going to be worth it.
Depends how long you keep going, man. Are we talking an hour or?
Like that last night in Tower, I was like, "Are we ready to go yet?" No.
I know. Well, yeah, boy.
Okay, VW. All right, there it is.
See, I told you.
Okay, and here it comes.
Okay.
This is it?
That's it.
Man,
okay.
There's Larry.
What's going on? Woo! Something cooking up in there, bro.
All right. This is what I'm using to take us out.
All right.
All right. Thank you, Mark.
Thank you, Jeff. Hello. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
If you're watching.
It's late.